We need to talk about what's happening in the United States today. If you take a walk in some of the biggest cities, you'll see the decline of society happening right in front of your eyes. It's not just happening in the bad areas, it's everywhere. In fact, even in the best parts of Washington, D.C., you can see filth, squalor, and disease. Just a few blocks away from the White House, you could find countless needles on the ground and homeless encampments taking over national parks. The rate of delinquencies has spiked to the highest levels in history. It's not just Washington, D.C. This is happening in many other areas that used to be prosperous and stable. Unfortunately, the decay is happening at a frightening pace and will only continue to accelerate as economic conditions worsen. Let's start by talking about Philadelphia. At one point, it was one of the greatest cities in the world. Nowadays, the city of Benjamin Franklin is filled with prime examples of social insanity that are rippling across the country. On Twitter, someone shared a video while walking the city's streets, witnessing dozens of people from different backgrounds passed out on the sidewalks, while others were clearly under the influence of illegal substances and in a catatonic state that would shock anyone. After years of neglect, no one is really surprised to hear that this is going on in Philadelphia. But what about a block from the White House? A video shared by Benny Johnson exposed scenes that seem like they've been taken out of a zombie movie. Exactly one block behind the White House, dozens of homeless encampments were scattered throughout city streets and even international parks. Severe sanitation issues, including human waste, used needles, and trash piling up everywhere. Even in front of St. Charles Cathedral, garbage dominated the landscape. Until 2017, Benny Johnson said he didn't see a single tent near public buildings. As he interviewed local residents, it became clear that people don't feel safe, and they say that new problems emerge on a daily basis. In fact, local reports reveal that from 2020 to 2022, there was a 36% rise in the rate of serious offenses, with 14 of those leaving fatal victims. At the same time, the rate of cases of illnesses caused by the abuse of illicit substances shot up by almost 70%. The West Coast is no different. In recent years, Portland, once considered one of the finest cities in America, has become something short of a dystopia. Store owners sleep with self-defense tools behind their pillows, and citizens must act as law enforcement agents. During an interview with the National Review, bike shop owner Dylan Carico Rogers said he slept at his shop for 7 months with multiple self-defense tools under his pillow. In less than a year, his store was battered by break-ins, theft, and vandalism. Portland's serially understaffed law enforcement agency was nowhere to be found, and in the face of $25,000 of stolen bike parts, Drytech Insurance Company was riding the jump ship. They said if he claimed another one, they're just gonna drop him. Roger said, "So I'm paying $1,200 every 3 months to be told that I have to replace everything on my own dime, and then at the same time, officers don't show up, so we're just in a free-for-all." In August 2022, the lifelong Portland resident packed up and decided to leave the city. By that point, the building landlord told him that it wasn't worth it anymore. The graffiti, property damage, constant break-ins, and unattended official reports were just no longer worth the investment. He tore up a 3-year lease. The building's vacant now. This is just one example of many business owners and residents who have been forced to flee Portland due to the city's rampant lawlessness. Don't forget to like and subscribe to our channel Economic Empires for more information on important topics that affect the everyday lives of Americans. The decay of cities like Philadelphia and Portland is not just a local issue, it's a reflection of a much larger problem in America. As economic conditions worsen and social programs continue to be cut, the most vulnerable members of society are left to fend for themselves. They turn to illegal substances and crime to survive, and the resulting deterioration of our cities is a clear warning sign of a society in crisis. One more example of a problematic city in the United States is Baltimore, Maryland. The city has been plagued with a high crime rate and poverty for decades. In 2019, Baltimore was ranked the most dangerous city in America with the highest homicide rate per capita. The city's poverty rate is also well above the national average, with more than 20% of the population living below the poverty line. The conditions in Baltimore are a result of years of neglect and failed policies. The city has a history of corrupt politicians, and the police force has been rocked by scandals and corruption. The city's infrastructure is crumbling, with many roads and bridges in disrepair. The public transportation system is unreliable, making it difficult for residents to get to work and access vital services. One of the most visible signs of Baltimore's decay is the large number of abandoned buildings and homes. These abandoned properties have become a breeding ground for crime and drug use. The city has also been hit hard by the opioid epidemic, with the highest rate of opioid-related deaths in Maryland. One potential solution to address the issues facing our cities is to increase funding for community programs and initiatives that focus on supporting vulnerable populations. For example, community-based organizations could work with local law enforcement agencies to create safe spaces for people struggling with addiction and homelessness. These programs could provide access to food, shelter, and medical care, as well as resources for addiction recovery and job training. Another solution is to address the root causes of economic inequality, which can be done by implementing policies that support working-class families and individuals. This could include increasing the minimum wage, providing universal health care, and expanding access to affordable housing. By investing in these policies, we can help to reduce poverty and ensure that everyone has access to the resources they need to thrive. Moreover, we can also work to promote civic engagement and community involvement to help address the issues facing our cities. By empowering local residents to take an active role in improving their communities, we can create a sense of ownership and accountability that will drive positive change. Local residents can work together to clean up streets and parks, organize community events, and advocate for policies that promote economic and social justice. Finally, we must address the issue of criminal justice reform to reduce the number of people in our jails and prisons. Incarceration rates in America are among the highest in the world, and this has a devastating impact on families and communities. We need to reform our criminal justice system by ending mandatory minimum sentences and implementing alternatives to incarceration, such as restorative justice programs. In conclusion, the decay of our cities is a reflection of a much larger problem in America. As a society, we must come together to address the root causes of economic inequality and social decay and work towards building stronger, more resilient communities. By investing in social programs, addressing the root causes of economic inequality, promoting civic engagement, and implementing criminal justice reform, we can build and revitalize our cities for future generations. It won't be easy, but it's a challenge we must face if we want to ensure a brighter future for our cities and our country as a whole. Up next, we have a suggested video for you to watch. Simply click on the top of the screen to continue learning with us.